everyone, welcome back. So today I'll be doing a paint with me video. So I'll be sharing with you guys these landscapes that I did in March. There was a week where I had some time to myself at night, so I decided that I wanted to do some paintings, and I also wanted to use up the masking fluid that I had lying around. I think I've had it for over like 4 years probably. So I just thought that I wanted to use it and I wanted to make something good with it. So these paintings were all quite intuitive. There wasn't really like any vision, but I just knew that I had quite a lot of fun when I did some quick sketches of like an ocean with the light reflected just by blocking in the reflections and then painting over in like a solid block of color. And I really like how that looked. So I thought of using that, but to like emulate it on a bigger scale. So I'll share more of the paintings that you saw in the first shot at the end of the video. And right now I'm just showing you guys the pieces that I made on the weekend because I don't usually film on the weekdays, especially at night when the lighting is not good. And I feel like when I'm in the zone of painting, it's just like I don't want to put it down and then get a camera out to film it. I'll just rather finish the work and then just share it afterwards. So yeah. I found this entire series of paintings really fun and like pretty different from what I usually do because I feel like I'm a bit more like restricted and the subjects that I paint and draw aren't usually landscapes. So it was a good change for myself, and I just used a toothpick to block in like the highlights, the places that I would like to keep the whites of the paper, the reflections. So I feel like the toothpick also achieves like a multitude of like strokes that are a bit more organic, but it's just a bit harder maybe to get the very fine details in. And also this masking fluid, because it is like it has like a gray base, so you can see like where you've like laid a mark on. I feel like at times when I remove it, there is a slight stain of color, even though it's not very obvious, but as long as you cover like the entire like outskirts of like the masking fluid with the color, it will look white when you remove the masking fluid. I also tried to go for really strong bright colors, very different from what I usually paint my illustrations with. I usually go with like very faint, very light tones, and you can't really even see it, but I feel like, you know, I've explored and used a lot of colors here, a lot of very strong blues, reds, and they're all so beautiful when put together and laid out like that. I feel like they look like calendars. Like I could like edit like the dates on there and it will look good as calendar. So for this current painting, I just went in with like an image in my head, like a rough guide of how I wanted the mountains to look like. So I just kind of blocked it in with the masking fluid, and then I just ran like blue all over the page and just add like a darker shade on areas that I feel like I want to add more depth to. So yeah, and then it's the removal of the masking fluid, and at times I will also stain like the areas that are left white because there's still paint left on the masking fluid as I rub it away. And I have like sweaty palms, so I feel like it activates the dried paint that's on the masking fluid and then causes the smudging to happen. From afar you can't tell, but I think when you look up close you'll be able to see some like smudging, but it's not terrible. Anyways, these are just like very fun paintings that I did and I really enjoyed them. Also, I've been trying to, I guess, introduce new habits into my life. Like I've mentioned for like some time now that I've been feeling pretty stuck. I think it's been about probably a year and I'm still feeling it. I just feel a little bit lost. So in the past, how I used to overcome things like that is just to like keep drawing and somehow I'll get myself out of it, but it doesn't seem to be working for me right now. So I'm taking the advice of my mom to try to go out and experience more things. And I feel like maybe taking this time as well, I am also trying to just, I guess, like pace myself. Like it's all right to not be making art sometimes. It's all right to just, you know, laze around, but then sometimes I feel guilty about it, or like I'm like, oh my god, I need to finish this, I need to do that. or else I don't feel like I'm doing anything with my life. But yeah, so I'll be sharing some moments and like snippets from my life as well. And I just hope that I get out of this rut soon. And I guess to also enjoy the little moments of life as well. And my mom always tells me like that when something is not happening the way you want it to, or something that you really want is not happening yet, it's also time for you to look on like what you have to improve still. It could be like honing your skill, or is it to be mentally stronger, things like that. It's like when there are rest and periods like that, you should take it and make it fulfilling and fruitful. I really liked how this current painting turned out. So I was referencing some images of Patagonia, and I came across this picture whereby like the sun rays were hitting the mountains, and it was so beautiful. So I wanted to kind of recreate that, and I feel like the blues and the reds work so well. They're really compatible, and the gradient that it mixes is also really beautiful. So I kind of like let the water do its work. I also did a gradient on the sky. It's not the most smooth gradient, but it's all right. One of the things that I did wrong, I blocked in the shadows of the lake with masking fluid, and in turn that looks like a highlight. So that is an error, but I think it doesn't take too much away from the painting. And I even liked how the reflections are on the lake, and I think it just turned out better than I expected, and definitely improvements to be made. But all in all, I just like how the paint reacted, and I feel like it's such a beautiful combination of colors. So the paints that I use throughout the whole video, and also the paintings at the end of the video where I'll share with you guys, are all Holland and M Graham paints. So they're really, really pigmented, and they're very beautiful. It's a real joy to work with colors that are so pigmented but yet translucent. And also, I feel like when the colors mix together, they don't produce like a very muddy color. And it happens sometimes, and also on some like paint combinations, just depends on the pigments that are in there and how they react. Overall, these series of paintings were a real joy and just something different from what I usually do. And I think like I've been craving that different, and it's just like I just want to find that spark, and I feel like this had a little bit of that, so it was really enjoyable throughout the whole process. And also I've got to use my masking fluid, which has been just lying around the corner for a couple of years now, to use bright colors like the way I guess it's intended to, just because my usual palette is really mellow, it's really light and is very faint, and I don't really bring justice to how bright these colors can be, and I feel like these paintings definitely showcases that. I guess that is kind of about it, and I will leave you all to the remaining of the painting, and I'll join again later at the end of the video when I'm sharing more of the pieces that I did throughout the week. Hey again, so if you stayed till this part of the video, I'll be sharing with you guys the remaining of the works that I did throughout the week that I mentioned previously. So I'll share with you guys my favorites from these, and they're all a tad bit repetitive. They're just a lot of the same techniques, pretty similar in colors as well. There's just like little changes here and there, be it's the environment or the color. So this is one of the earliest pieces that I did. It's just a sunset against like an ocean, and there's like very heavy reflections. And I feel like it's very reminiscent of those like old Japanese pop art because of the colors. And I tried to like add different blues as well, just so that there's a bit of like gradation, I guess, in both the sky and the sea. And the one next to it is like a quiet city. There's just like light falling snow as well, which I think is really beautiful. It's harder to form like very uniform dots with a toothpick. So I think like if you want better precision, you should probably use something like a ruling pen. Overall, vibe of the painting just gives me like very cozy and peaceful, like a quiet night. And I really enjoyed how this one turned out. So next up, this one is quite a vibrant piece. So it's just like Mount Fuji. I blocked it out and then I just painted the whole thing blue. And I wanted to create a very clean and very flat wash. So the one on the right is referenced, and it's just like reflections bouncing off the waters. And then, yeah, that's kind of it. Nothing much to go into. And next up is this piece, and I absolutely love this one. I loved how it turned out. I love the skies. And because I love the city piece that I did earlier, I wanted to kind of recreate it, but this time around it's in the foreground. I should have probably made the lights gradually smaller towards the end, but it's all looking pretty uniformed. But nonetheless, I still really like this piece. And next, I don't really like this one because I feel like it looks very cluttered. Like there's too much elements going on. It's really strong, very heavy to look at because like there's like heavy snow and like heavy reflections. These are great practices for me to reach like the piece that I really like. So yeah, this one is just a little bit more on the simpler side. So it's just a very clean ocean with reflections and nothing much to that. For the one next to it, the background was originally a different color, but I thought that it looked a little bit ominous. That's why I changed it out. And I also used like a thicker washi tape for this. So I feel like this creates a little bit more breathing space and looking at it is a bit more comfortable. So yeah. That's all for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it and like the artworks that I featured. A little bit different, but I hope that it's a good different. I feel like they look really good as a whole like overview shot of them. I think they look really good together. So I think that's all for today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next one. Bye!